Should be good now.
So there's currently a sale going on. Oh, are you talking?
I am talking. Okay, I gotta remember that's a weird bug with Voicemeeter Banana.
Okay. I
There's a
couldn't hear you
sale.
on stream or on Discord,
No,
so
no,
I
yeah,
can hear you now.
it's a bug. Oh, there's a wait. First of all, sale? Question mark.
There's a sale going on in Origin. I'm tempted to pick up a couple things, even though Origin.
Origin's not bad. Origin got their shit together real quick though after everybody complained.
Yeah, it's like 50 to 80% off on a bunch of stuff.
Hold on, let me see if I gotta actually log into Origin or for auto. Actually, the Sexy Brutal is something I want to get. It's on sale in the Humble store. It's a game. It's a mystery murder game, but it takes it like the day repeats itself, and you have to try to solve the murder within 24 hours. Or
Interesting.
yeah, it's a really interesting. To me, that's super. I just like the name that's called the Sexy Brutal, but I'm down.
Final day, 24 hours remain.
Yeah, essentially, but you repeat. I guess.
Yeah, like you can pick up Battlefront for $7 or for like 7 Canadian. Sims 4 is $20. Mass Effect Andromeda is 26. These are Canadian prices, so drop 30% off of that for you. Titanfall 2 for 20. Not
I
terrible
have
prices, I don't
Titanfall 2
think.
though. No, I have Titanfall 2 because robots, giant robots.
Kind of tempted to pick up Sims 4. It's been a long time since I touched the Sims games. I wonder if Mass Effect 3 is on here. I've seen 2 in Andromeda, but
You can see what's on the house. All right. Check out my game library. Gotta have. I got some games. I got the complete Sims 2 collection. I got Sims 3 apparently. Got
ooh,
Peggle.
Spore is on sale. Mass Effect 3 is not, though. That's kind of sad. You get Spore for $5. Probably cheaper for you.
Let me go look. Is there a sale going on currently? Wait, there is.
Yeah, it's the player appreciation sale.
Can I just
Up to
sort by?
85% off.
Let's click that banner. Let's go look. Something was on sale on my. Something on my
On
list
what?
was on my list on Steam was on sale this weekend.
Ah,
Holy. The Resident Evil 7's on sale, and Dragon's Dogma is on sale. Dragon Dogma is a really good game. Like I'm almost tempted to pick that up just because it was a high def remake.
which one? Sorry.
Dragon's Dogma, which was a Ubisoft. If I get this right.
Don't remember the game.
It was a like open world RPG, but you had a party of 4, like you had a group of people with you. And it was very like they really looked at like D&D, and I don't know, it was really fun. Like you can climb on monsters' backs and stuff, and good times. Super fun game. Only $12 right now. The problem is they redo the high def redo or whatever they did, the upscaling. There was this awesome like metal song that opened the game. They took that out because they didn't have the rights to it anymore. And I'm like, no.
Oh, that's sad.
I want the metal song. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is on sale as well. No, though, yeah, Witchit looks fun as hell. Just because I can turn into like a fruit basket and just hang out and see if somebody finds me. Because you like throw eggs at the people. There's like power ups. It's stupid silly. I liked Prop Hunt. I remember when I was playing Prop Hunt with Tobrin and his friends, and I disguised myself as a vending machine and just stuck near the vending machines, and they walked past me a bunch of times. They're just like, we can't find him. I'm like, I'm like, guys, you've passed me 20 times. And they started shooting chairs and tables, and then I won. And they're like, what were you? I'm like, vending machine. Nobody suspects the vending machine.
Just start shooting candy out at them.
No, then they'd be happy. I'm gonna give them candy.
Magicka 2's on sale today.
Magicka 2 is on sale.
Pretty sure I own that.
Do I? I own so
hope
many
I
games.
do.
I own so many games that I don't even know if I own a game.
Oh god, no, I only own Magicka.
Yes, I only own Magicka.
I'm kind of tempted.
It wouldn't be the worst thing to get. What's all right? Well, what's the deluxe edition get? What's in the deluxe edition? Free update, learn to spell again.
Wait, what? The free update, but you get it for wait, what?
Yeah, free. Ye old hybrid elements, Steam and Ice for Magic 1 are back. Oh, they added the 2 old.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
eyes.
normal and the deluxe and all of that.
I don't know what the deluxe adds. Like usually they give a description at the bottom, like, "Hey, this is what this version has."
Mm-hmm. Like, there's a collection bundle which has 4 things in it, but it doesn't tell you what the deluxe edition is.
I'm gonna look it up. Maybe. Okay, is Magicka 2 deluxe edition plus DLCs? No, deluxe edition includes the following: Warlord robe set, Magicka orchestra soundtrack, digital interactive map, and Cultist robe set. Magicka orchestra soundtrack FLAC? Question mark? No, only Hydro Sticky. It's not FLAC. When do we start getting our Falcon mounts? Are those in game yet? Do we get to write on our deck?
Those should be soon. I think the first batch should have come out on Tuesday, and the next batch comes out next month in September.
Dick rockets are gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be great.
Rockets.
Fucking pocket rockets. My day is complete with then all hail Hall of Scorpion until Seas Fall is all. Yeah, man, we're gonna keep it tight. I don't know what that means. Do not know what that means. Ignore me.
I forgot I have Ori and the Blind Forest now too.
So many games. I bought Hellblade, which is a game that's like set in the time of the Vikings, but you're you're a woman who travels into Helheim, like into like the Viking version of Hell, to figure out what happened to her lover. But it's super psychological, but not like a like a horror game. Like actual like psychology went into making the game. And I'm like, I need to play that this week.
I can't remember. Have you played Borderlands?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. I have not made it through.
Listen, there's a bunch of games you and I could play on stream.
A bunch of them we could play. I'm not sure about Borderlands 1 because I haven't played that, but I played a bunch of Borderlands 2. I just feel like that would end really, really poorly if both of us were playing with it, and it would be perfect for stream. Kind of like Magicka.
Yeah. There's a bunch of games we could probably play together that will be both hilarious and great for stream. Like Portal 2.
Yes. That would not end well. That'll be like a 3-day playthrough because we won't be able to cooperate for a good while.
That's why. Listen, I'm. Oh, by the way, we should probably have certain meeting with certain person about certain event.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure there's multiple of those that we have to do.
The one that is the.
I know which one you're talking about.
The other one, no, I gotta. I'm gonna announce it on the show, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm not gonna announce.
No, not that.
Not that. No, not that. You'll know. You'll see.
We're already like 7 minutes over. We should probably start.
Are we not started? We've been like fucking window shopping and talking shit. Yeah, I guess we should start a show. I guess something along this line. Do one of these. All right, let's do this. Today is Try that one more time. Ready? Oh wait, no, can't start it. I almost forgot to hit something like record. Almost, I noticed. Almost fucked that all up. Hey, all right, look, it's recording. Perfect. Should be getting you too. Go ahead and talk for me just real quick, just to make sure. Yeah, all right, it's good. All right, let's try this. What is it? Third time's a charm? I'm gonna do this now. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2017. This is episode 49 of Maelstrom Radio.
Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Flatus and Shinder.
And welcome everybody to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Flatus. With me, as always, this host, Spirit Animal, is the Beaver, but he doesn't give a damn. It's Shin.
That was awesome.
You're welcome.
That was a great one.
Yeah. You know, next week, next week. Oh, by the way, this is episode 49 of Maelstrom Radio. So, you know, if you've been with us since day one, why? But if you have, I want to thank you all for hanging out with us. And if you were here last week and you don't hear a Shin echo, that's good, because I should have fixed all the audio problems. So I also shouldn't be peaking this time around. Everything should be pumping correctly through things correctly and all that fun stuff. So thank you. Also, oh yeah, episode 50. Episode 50 should be next week. We'll tweet out the day. It's probably going to be a weekend because we want people to call in, and we want everybody from the East and West Coast to come out and hang out with us. Not just East Coast.
Mostly the East Coast, though, because we're cooler.
Are you trying to say that because I'm trying to move out to the West Coast, and then when I'm out there, it's not as cool?
No, but I will give you shit when you're out on the West Coast.
Oh, motherfucker! You gotta fly out there on occasion. On the upside, we'll hang out more because you'll be out there.
Depends on where you end up on the West Coast. The West Coast is pretty big, kind of like the East Coast. We both live here, yet are quite far away.
Looking at the area.
I don't go there too often.
You don't, but I know you will visit them. Bro, it's not like I couldn't hop on a plane and be up in the Bay Area in like 3 hours or whatever. No, it will last probably
hour and a half, hour 45.
Yeah, I was gonna say about like almost 2 hours. And then we can go tear up the Bay Area. I know people in the Bay Area. The Steamworks is in the Bay Area. They might throw us in there if you don't know what this is. Oh boy, there's gonna be a bunch. If you don't know what the Steamworks is, go Google that, I guess. It's a. Did you not hit a button? I don't hear you. I saw your lips move, but I just didn't.
Is it working now?
Yeah, you're fine. No.
All right, I hit its thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't ask.
Don't ask what the Steamworks is. Listen, when you see a building that has no windows and just a Steamworks, you can kind of guess what's going on the inside. All right. I'm not gonna drop like major clues. I'm just saying you'll see only men going into that joint. It's an exclusive workout club. Listen, can't. What do we do here? What's our show about?
We're all off the thing. We have news. What happened this week? I don't know. I've been out of the loop, so like
you have. Yeah,
it was
really.
Like patch notes or something, wasn't there?
Kind of. There wasn't. Listen, if you were DPS, you got buffed, except for Ninja. Nobody fucking cares about Ninja.
Toad Rogues.
Yeah. The Feast season 5 started. So if you've been watching our streams lately, which is me streaming usually, and I've been playing Final Fantasy, I've been mostly PvPing, doing the Feast, and I'm having a blast playing the Feast PvP. I have issues with Feast PvP and how it works, sort of. I get. All right. Not that we have PvP down there. Do we have it down there? We don't.
We do not.
No, I mean,
We can add it in later if we get through the news fast.
all right. Well, fuck it. I'll talk about it down there. All right. I got. Listen, I have comments. That's all I'm saying. All right, and also, they just recapped the last live letter. Nothing major. Nothing big going on. Also, the new story of the storm, or whatever the hell it's called, Tales of the Storm. The second story has been released. Next week will be the third, and then the final week of August will be the fourth. So go have at it. Go do the thing. There's a picture of there's a picture of Alice and Lise and damn it, what the hell
Is that the one where they're all having tea?
Yeah, they're fucking tea party, and they're trying to figure out who took the picture. I just said Lise used G pose, which makes the most sense. Or it's Alfie, but he's too busy holding a sign that says, screw Estinian or whatever. I think he's just mad. Anyway.
That tweet.
All right. Well, last week we were talking about improving Final Fantasy XIV, and so we didn't finish because who knew that was going to be more than one episode or whatever. So this week we're gonna continue our talks of doing the whole improving of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, are these improvements needed?
Yes.
Yeah. They are
Some
needed.
of them. Something needs to change. Maybe not these specifically, but something.
No, yeah, something needs to change because listen, when I have people DMing me saying, "Listen, I'm out. I deleted my character," although 2 days later he came back. He's like, "I fucking restored my character. I'm a weak man." I love you, Donk, wherever you are right now. You poor bastard. Anyway, let's continue. Last week we left off with dungeons, and the last thing we didn't really talk about were puzzle dungeons because I think that we didn't want to just talk about it and just to skate over it and then not do it justice because we Shin and I both agree puzzle dungeons can be a thing.
They would be kind of an amazing thing, and I don't want to dig into it actually too much tonight because I think we could probably do almost an entire episode around this concept because I think it's actually a really, really cool concept and it could work really, really well. We would just have to adjust it a little bit for the MMO genre as opposed to traditional RPGs. And for those who aren't familiar or haven't heard us talk about puzzle dungeons before, we're talking about things kind of similar to what the Deep Dungeon started. Possibility with like randomized dungeons, randomized floor sets, tiles, but having puzzles to get through them as opposed to just killing things by themselves. So that could be stuff like moving blocks or jumping puzzles or or exploring different areas or a whole bunch of different almost mini game style type things. And this has been seen in a lot of other games such as Lufia was a really major one. Final Fantasy historically has also had puzzles within it. Near and dear to myself, the Zelda series has lots of them. So it is a very, very tried and true formula for engaging players and getting them involved in doing things. And we have seen some of that kind of start to come through it lately, especially with like Bardam's Medal and going through all of that and Mechanics Boss. But I would like to see it taken even 1 or 10 steps further. And even if it's not the same dungeon system or worked into the current dungeon system, I'd like to see maybe an evolution, a combination of the Deep Dungeon and these puzzles to bring something completely new to the system.
And I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's kind of weird thinking like you think about like the past in the Final Fantasy series, and there's like puzzles or things that you had to get to unlock new areas and stuff like that. Like these are things that we could easily put into the dungeons to make them feel fresh and new. Even if stuff that's hidden or that resets, or like we said, the resetting of tiles and everything like that would be super interesting. I even like a little bit of the Final Fantasy 15 system where parts of the dungeon are not open to you right away. and you'd have to go back to explore other like lower levels of the dungeon. That even to me is an interesting concept that maybe not this expansion, but maybe something they could look at, because right now I think even if I don't think they could even add it through the patch series, because that's something like on a whole new level, almost deep dungeon-esque.
Yeah, I think it's similar to Deep Dungeon there, but it's almost like we need a tiered dungeon system. So like you've completed the first tier of this dungeon, and then you can either run that tier again, or you can attempt for tier 2, which is the first part plus the next section. And kind of like what we do with raids, where you can queue for raids, are different people trying to do different parts of the raids. Like, for example, people that want to farm it, or people that want to do a clear, or who want to practice. Like, because we can choose that in our party finder now, or the raid finder, it'd be kind of cool to see that expand over into dungeons, where you can say, I want to do this part of the dungeon, or I want to do this section of the dungeon, like, or have like a much larger area.
Real quick, Kane in chat says, I've played numerous MMO, and puzzles and dungeons always makes you think, and it's super fun, but it won't cater to the instant gratification crowd. And that's the way games in general are going, so I don't know if that would fly, but I would absolutely, I'm assuming he meant love it, if they did do it. The thing is that I get that there's an instant gratification crowd. Now, here's the deal. If you know, like, it's all about incentive, right? Like, you're not going to put in work into something that you're not going to be incentivized for doing. You can make the tiered system, you can make a puzzle system in dungeons, and as long as you're getting something out of it that is worth your time and putting in, people are going to do it. Now, are there still going to be those outside options that Final Fantasy could have, like the tome system and everything else, that people that are just going to go want to run in and do a dungeon and collect tomes? Yes. And I don't see that being any different, but why not have both? You can cater to both.
And I don't understand why you would say it doesn't cater to the instant gratification crowd. I don't think this is any different inherently than a dungeon where you walk in and you go and you kill creatures, or you go and you kill all the bosses. Like, there is nothing different about it, or like time constraint wise, where you can't just walk in and take 20 minutes and clear this puzzle. Like, it doesn't have to be a single puzzle. Like, honestly, if I was, for my ideal system, I'd want to have something closer to Palace of the Dead, where it's a series of puzzles that make up a floor or a layout, and you have to go through a series of them. And when you combine them all, yeah, that ends up into like a 15-20 minute dungeon. Now, it's instant gratification in the same way that you'd do it in a normal dungeon, right? Like, you could have it split into 3 or 4 puzzles, and at the completion of each puzzle, you get a small piece of loot, and you get better loot the longer that you progress into it. I'm not saying something like a 100-level dungeon system where you have to go down like Palace of the Dead, but something that you can try again and again and again, and get kind of that new experience, like doing one series of levels in Palace of the Dead. It's 10 floors. They're always different every time you go to a new floor. Maybe we don't have to do it that long. Maybe you only have like 3 or 4 puzzles that you do. Like, depends on how long they want to make each of these things.
True. You could do a 5
but you want to do like
thing.
Aim for 15 to 20 minutes.
You can
Seems
do
to
a
be
5
about the right
floor,
time.
where it's you go in for 4, then the 5th one is like the hard one.
Right. Or
So-
even like you could do it like Aquapolis style of, you solve this puzzle within certain constraints. If you get it right, you move on to the next one. You can keep going and choose whenever you want to stop.
Yeah, it could be a timing thing. It could be anything really. But listen, are you going to tell me that wouldn't invest people when, like, what's going? And I'm saying this as the player, because I see it within RFC and I see it within just the player base already. But when you see major people, like even streamers, Final Fantasy 14 streamers, where they're just like, hey, I'm playing this, and I'm playing Final, like when this first came out, it's like, we're playing Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy, but now it's like, hey, we're playing Final Fantasy, also I'm going to be moving on to this and this and this, and like the time they're playing Final Fantasy grows shorter. It's, you know, it's a worrisome thing. So a lot of the things we are offering here are stuff that is going to keep people interested. Like, to me, if I could say, hey guys, Wednesdays I'm gonna go in and do Palace or Puzzle Palace, or whatever the hell it is in Final Fantasy 14, and I want people to come out and play and hang out, and the audience can come participate if you're on the Primal database. I would do that in a heartbeat. Like, get a bunch of people in, or whatever, you know, however many people I can get into a party, and just swap people in and out. people would show up for that because it's fun and it's interesting. You work together, and it's not like, to me, killing mobs is mindless once you do it the first couple times and you know the strats. All you're gonna do is run in and just do your job. Where something like that uses your brain, there's communication, you have a little more fun. You don't get people say, hey, you're an asshole, you're an idiot. Like, well, no, man.
Yeah, you will. It's on the internet.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Sorry.
Kane also brought up, mostly I say for the people who like to speedrun dungeons, wouldn't a puzzle dungeon take that away, kind of? I don't think so necessarily. It's going to be the same thing as Palace of the Dead when it came out, as...
Yeah. I speedrun Sudoku,
not
bitch.
Eureka. What's the other thing? Or Diadem. Diadem and Palace,
yeah.
And all of those new dungeons, the Trials, the Extremes, Omega, all of those things. It's a challenge at first. People figure it out, and once they have it down, they'll start speedrunning it, right? If you know the types of puzzles that are there, you go and you attempt the puzzle, you see what type of puzzle it is, you know how to solve that puzzle, you can solve it much faster on subsequent runs. So I don't think that this would prevent a speed run unless they put in inherent blocks in it so that you can't actually progress fast. And really, that's not much different than what they've kind of done with dungeons now, where you're gated between each bosses or between even pulls at this point, where you have to go to a point, kill all the mobs before you can get to the next area. So it depends if they want to gate those dungeons in that sort of way. And if they do, then that's up to them. Personally, I kind of sort of disagree. But it is up to their design team to figure out how best to pace the progression throughout that dungeon.
Yeah, and you also have to. I mean, I don't want to spend like super long like talking about dungeons because we did that last week, but you also have to kind of remember, like, are the dungeons fun? Yeah, they're interesting. Like, you could tell that they're taking more risks with the dungeon. Like, you could tell Bard of Metal was a risk for them. Like, you don't know but that risk was a breath of fresh air. I mean, at least to us, like the two hosts here. And I don't think I've ever saw anyone online and say, fuck Bard of Metal. I don't, like, not one person I was like, fuck that dungeon. Everybody loves that second boss because it was like so different and unique, and you want that. I mean, like if it shows, like, listen, if it shows me anything, if Bard of Metal is the bar they're trying to set for, hey, we're trying something new and different, and we want to push, if you guys like that, maybe we can do more of that. Maybe we can do a whole dungeon of that. And I'm okay with that. Shin would probably be okay with that too. Pretty sure he is. So, all right. Well, if that's the case, I'm hoping that is a future. I'm hoping it's not the future of dungeons. I'm hoping that is a future, maybe in like alternate patches where we're like, hey, we're gonna give you a hard mode and a dungeon, and then the next patch we'll give you a puzzle dungeon, and I'd be fucking cool with that. You know,
or like they say they're doing two dungeons. One of them could be a killing murderous dungeon, and the other one could be puzzle. Or we could get some new deep dungeon content, like, right? Like this, I would put this as a similar level of something new, like the Aquapolis, like Diadem, like Eureka, like Deep Dungeon. Like, so it's not something that we necessarily get new all the time, but it's something they can add to, something they can improve on. We got Aquapolis, and that was awesome. Then they updated it a little bit. Then we got Aquapolis 2.0 when we hit 70 here. Then we also had Deep Dungeon. Then they had so we had 50 levels of that. Then we had 100 levels. Then we had 200 levels. So they keep improving the systems and doing that. And I think they could do something like that as well in this case.
Yeah, and Kane, listen, I didn't mean to like say you were a bitch. I'm not saying you were a bitch. I'm just like, I was just fucking with you. I like puzzles. Don't get me wrong. I really do I love puzzles in games. Like, that's why I love the Zelda series. It's why I love the Final Fantasy series. You know, you give me puzzles and dungeons and I'm set. So I'm just saying it's fun times. It's good stuff. Early WoW dungeon did it where you had to collect like the 3 parts. It was like very Indiana Jones-esque where you had to collect 3 items and you put them on a thing so you can unlock a boss. Like, that's like you had to collect these 3 parts to unlock, but you could fucking not do it, skip and go straight to the end of the dungeon. So that was like one of those cool things where it's like, do you want to do the extra secret boss? Yeah, you do. So it's like little stuff, like those little things. Anyway, let's move on to quests, shall we?
Kill 10 rats.
Oh, don't get me started on bears.
They're the number one threat.
Fucking let me listen. I don't think I've ever said it on this show, but maybe I have. Like Shin knows, like my biggest gripe, any MMO, if I see there's a fucking quest to kill bears and collect something from bears, I will back out of that MMO. And I can't remember what game it was, where it was like this big alpha, and it was like, watch, I told everybody, I was like, watch, there's gonna be a bear quest within the first starting zone. And everybody's like, no, there won't be. Fucking, I took screenshots. They're like, kill 10 bears, collect their like spleens. I'm like, you motherfuckers, I hate this. Listen, when I have to be told to go pick up my melon baller and go pluck out fucking bear anuses, and I gotta go do that, and I go out there and do it, and I kill a bear, and it lacks an anus. That bear had a problem, and I shouldn't have killed it. I feel maybe if anything, I put it out of its fucking misery, or I kicked its ass so bad the anus flew across the fucking map.
I think that's more likely. You probably should have aimed your fireballs a little bit higher.
Just want to point out, I said, let me grab my melon baller and pluck out bear anuses.
Sentences I never thought that I would hear uttered. So,
Did you just realize I made a pop with my mouth on purpose? Did that just register?
oh no! I registered that it was on purpose, linking what you were implying.
Uh-huh.
For a second.
Oh boy, we have fun here.
Maelstrom Radio, everyone.
Put it in your mouth.
No, that's something you should definitely not do.
Yeah, don't put the bear anus in your mouth. Don't. You know what? Actually, let's make that a PSA. Where's that PSA? I mean, after.
No.
Next up, Maelstrom Radio, grapefruit sounds and bear anuses. Look, fuck, did you know that grapefruiting came back like on the internet? Listen.
I saw something about it. I never heard about it initially. I don't really want to hear about it now.
Oh, buddy.
Let me keep my innocence.
Oh, listen. I know I'm a pure boy. You're hella pure boy. Well, welcome to the Pure Boy Podcast.
Yeah, we'll keep that.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So quests.
Let's go get that Twitter handle, Pure Boy Podcast. Yeah, quests. So Final Fantasy. All right. So yet again, pointing at Stormblood. Stormblood tried to up the quest game a bit. Just like, so they started here and went there. So instead of going from here, talk to this person, talk there, they're like, hey, I know you don't like those quests, but don't worry, they're in here. But but also, we gave you a quest where you guys can also now, you could snipe people with a blow dart. And then
honestly, one of my favorite quests in the entire dungeon, or the entire game.
Fuck, it was the best quest. Listen, when I knew you were like a little bit ahead of me, you're like, wait till you get to the second one.
The second one was better because you had to snipe moving things, the sheep.
Oh, the sheep! Oh, fuck. And those little sheep are like,
you had to shoot the sheep. That was the best quest.
I need to pull that sheep noise, maybe. Put it on the board. It was like a honk.
No.
But like, yeah. All right, so this is one thing I think some MMOs do a bit better. WoW in particular going, I don't know, forward as it were, especially with 7.2. Even though I haven't played 7.2 at all, I do have friends that are playing it. They're like, hey, this whole Sargeras quest line, this massive quest line that everybody's working towards this common goal, so everybody's doing these quests. And like for me, like WoW does these cool things where it's like hop on this thing's back and do these bombing runs where you throw like explosions on things and kill massive groups of people to thin out the hordes. And I'm down with that. Like, I like those little things. It breaks up the monotony of go kill 10 X guys and, you know, bring me back their kneecaps.
I did find that WoW had a lot more quest variation between the different types that you do. There's a lot less just go and fetch this or go and do this or kill 10 rats type quests. But at the same time, I did find as well that they did start repeating after a point. So I think almost every game has their own style or set of quests that they kind of pull from. And I'd like to see more cross pollination between games. So, like you
Yes.
said, there's that one where you do the bombing run where you get on some sort of flying mount and you are bombing things on the ground. That's a brilliant idea, and I would love to see that implemented in other games. I've also seen other different styles of quests in other MMOs that we've played. We have Rift and some of their things that I can't figure out specifics right now. But I definitely have seen unique stuff in Rift. I've seen unique stuff in EQ, EQ2, and just having those options available would be a lot more interesting. Because players, when you play a game after a period of time, you start getting bored with what that game is offering.
You start picking up, like, listen, without telling you what 4.1 is going to be, it's going to be, oh, there's something new, there's something brewing on the fucking front around with the Garleans. So it's going to be what? Go here, talk to this person, find out what's wrong, try to go solve the problem, get layers of story, talk to a group of people, figure out what's wrong there. Then you go do the story dungeon that's attached to it. Do the story dungeon, get out of the story dungeon, and get your, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, does that sound familiar? Because we've been doing it since 2.0. So,
and honestly, I think that's one of the strong points of Final Fantasy 14 is that the story in particular. They do a very good job of tying the quest to the story, making it relevant. They have the cutscenes. They've gotten insanely better at making the cutscenes and not having them interrupt things like dungeons and group events. They've limited solo duties so that we don't have to do those as much either, so you can play with people more and not be basically playing a solo game. So, like, story aside, because I think they've done the story and those quests really, really well. In between those pieces, I think they need to step it up a notch.
Yeah, and like we said, the sniping quest was a good starting point. The poop collecting quests, I don't know. Like, I was like, oh wait, see, to me that's like, hey, WoW's got poop quests. Let's put a poop quest in. I'm like, guys. You didn't need to put the poop quest in. You could have put the bombing run quest in, not the poop quest. Nobody wanted the poop quest. I don't know what's going on in chat. Okay, that sheep was Bridget. She has a problem with retardation, but she's full of love. What? The sheep is named Bridget?
I'm just skipping over this. Yeah.
They're trying to derail me. They're really trying hard to derail me. So, what's going on over there? Listen, I derail me. If anybody derails anybody, it's me.
It's like our last point here under quests is that there's a lot of interesting story and side quests, but we really don't have a lot of reason to complete it. Like, one that I have completed because we were curious at the time what it involved was the Shisui of the Violent Tides. There was a side quest there around who
Princess was
actually, yeah, it was the princess and around that. So I did complete that, and like, it was a really interesting story. There was a lot of kind of cool lore behind it. The rewards themselves were just kind of they weren't terribly useful, even though I was at the level. But
yeah,
if I wasn't specifically interested in doing that story and wasn't waiting for a certain somebody to catch up because they were really, really slow, I would have no reason to complete those side quests.
Hey, I passed you eventually.
Yeah, it's because I had to go back to work.
Hey. It's true. Well, but it's also like, all right, so for example, like one of my favorite side story quests in Final Fantasy 2.0 was I can't remember, the out in the desert, and there's the guy out there that has the Cactuar, and he's like befriending Cactuar out there, and you go on this epic quest chain and you get your own little Cactuar. And I was like, this is great. I love this quest chain because I got a little pet out of it. Like, give me pets. Like, I'll fucking do any quest in this game if it gave me a pet. And you know what the thing was? Like, we did this quest, like the first time you see Otter is there, and I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me I do this princess side quest, I get fucking Otter? No, Otter is a fishing thing. And I'm like, God damn it. Why? They didn't have to put him in fishing. They could have gave it to you after the princess quest. Like, he was like this little dude. They couldn't do it, huh? Bastards. Just mad. I'm just mad.
But yeah, I think we have examples of really, really interesting side quest design with Hildebrand, with Scholasticate. Even
Those
the
are
Gold Saucer was kind of a side quest to get into the Gold Saucer too, right?
Not really. But when what was it, the very first Gold Make It Rain event, that was the murder mystery, which was phenomenal. That was really good. Although the beach event, you haven't been on, but I think you should log on and do the Moonfire Fair Fates, because our favorite purple tentacle man shows up for a fate. And that is worth this event alone. I'm telling you, seeing Ultros come out and do a fate during the bikini laden event is magical. Uh-oh, did I lose Shin? Oh no. Wait, what happened? Why did you not move so long? I thought I lost you.
I mean, I looked down because my phone buzzed, but
You did not
just
listen.
freeze.
You were. I don't know. You were dead solid, like so dead solid. And I was talking about Ultros, and I was like, he didn't make a face. You have two shits about Ultros. Listen. You should come out and do that. Like, if you log in to do anything, do that, because he's fucking hella pervy and so great.
He's Ultros.
He's Ultra. He shows up. He's like, ladies in bikinis. La, la, la. You could plus you could take a picture with him up close. It's great. So,
And I find that like the seasonal events are pretty well done in this game. Like almost all of them have had an interesting story or something interesting to go on. Like we've had there was the Valentine's Day quest where you get to go, and we eventually got the Dote emote. There was the Halloween quest where we got to do the dungeon. There's the Halloween quest where we got the broom.
I was gonna say, hold on a second. Can we talk about like? I don't want to go back to Puzzle
Rangers.
The Posing Rangers is fantastic. I wish they would have came back. But don't get me wrong. I love Ultros. I'm so glad that they had found a reason to bring Ultros back. And if it's for bikinis, I don't give a shit. Let's bring him back. But because I think we need more Ultra. First of all, that proves that Ultros isn't dead and Ultros is still alive. He's scouring the ocean looking up at bikini ladies. So that makes me so happy. But real quick, the Halloween event with the dungeon, that is a good example of what a puzzle dungeon can be in Final Fantasy XIV. Just pointing that out. Like, that is a perfect example of what they could do with that sort of system. And I know that they said they're looking at like doing new things for Palace of the Dead, maybe looking at Halloween. So I'm just saying. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to Achievos, or achievements. If you're not an asshole like me and just wanted to say achievement, you can buy Maelstrom Radio official Achievos on our Maelstrom store. Shouldn't we need a Maelstrom store so people can buy Achievos?
Just send money.
Yeah. Just send money to twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. Use your Twitch Prime account to sign up, and it's free for you, and it gives us money, and it helps support the show.
Well, it costs like $80 a year. It's through your Amazon stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're using your Amazon stuff, and you get that free Twitch Prime sub, you can sub to us, and then you unlock Johnny Falcon. And then everybody wants Johnny Falcon. So, shameless promotion for Maelstrom Radio. Achievements, most complete. Why? What did I do? All right, most are completed through normal actions in a normal course of adventure. I think. Yeah, yet again, I'm always gonna use WoW as my. Or I'll even use Rift this time. I'll mix it up. Rift had all sorts of achievements for puzzles in the world, for jumping off a cliff and landing into a small pool of water at the bottom of it. You got achievements
for 2 is another good one for this.
Oh yeah. Oh, everywhere. Achievements, just loading them up. WoW phenomenally has like tons of crazy little achievements. Especially for like raids, and it's not just like you completed the raid, here's the achievement. Like, there were special things you could do, like for example, I'll use Uladar as an example, which is one of my favorite raids. There was one where you had to get a dragon on Uladar to you chained it to bring it down so you could attack it. Now the idea was to have it burn 50 dwarves, and if you did that, you got an achievement, and you got that dragon as a mount once you beat it. Like, that was a guaranteed mount drop for the whole party. Like, everybody got one, and it was so good, and it's such a cool mount. But I mean, it's stuff like that. Or if you used if you didn't destroy the pillars and made Uladar on hard mode, essentially, you got extra achievements for doing that, and also unlocked better gear and all those things. That's stuff like that. That's stuff that would be really cool, where it's it's not just through normal actions, it's like this extra fun stuff in the world. Ixion and Fox Fate, I believe, have achievements attached to them, which is neat. Usually the bigger achievements do. We know that what's his name? Odin has one attached. Like all the bigger fates have them attached. So those are in that vein, but they are predictable. It would be stuff that I would like to see, like, oh hey, like you went and you petted, like for example, one in WoW, because there's guild achievements as well. I would love to see FC achievements. Why don't we have those? I would love to see that. I would love to see.
There was a great achievement in Rift if you went and you killed a whole bunch, because Rift had critters, and
so did
I don't
WoW.
think I've seen it. I don't know. Yeah, okay, WoW has them as well.
And WoW had one
they
for
were
killing
useless.
critters.
They didn't do anything. And yeah, you go and you kill a bunch of critters, and you got a critter killer title.
Yeah, and WoW, you kill 50,000 critters, you unlock the armadillo pet. You also get a title. I don't know if you got a title, but it's like, oh, it was also like you can go and kiss them and hug them, and you got like, or if you went and hugged all the critters, you got like a different title, like the pacifist versus like the bloodletter. Like it was like little silly shit like that, which is phenomenal.
And that keeps the engagement going, right? Like you're doing stupid things, but it's entertaining. You get something from it. It's a title, it's a mount, it's a pet, it's whatever.
It's stuff to do with an FC or your guild to be like, hey, let's go do this stupid thing. Like WoW even had, let's go, like you could kill the if you killed all the opposite faction leaders. This was during Wrath days. You had, like, imagine working together as a server on your faction, and you're like, all right, like there's fucking 80 of us. We have to go into the faction hometowns, which are flagged instantly for PvP at that point, and NPC guards are going to hit you. And if you kill all the faction leaders, you got a guaranteed polar bear mount, which was dope.
And even like EQ2 had systems where you could have achievements that you complete as a guild. If there are more than so many people in your guild at the point when you kill something, you get an achievement. If you do it within a certain time frame, you get an achievement. If you do it under certain conditions, if you do it with less than the recommended number of people or stuff like that. Like they had some more, like, they're almost challenges, which I know we have the challenge log, so I don't want to confuse those two, but it's almost like we want like a Savage achievement style system where it's achievements, but you have to do something harder, or even like hidden achievements where we don't know what the conditions are to unlock certain things, or you don't know that the achievement even exists until you actually do it, and then it appears in your journal. So like stuff like that would kind of be interesting, especially to people who do hunt the achievements or do like the exploration or do want the challenge of completing these things. Like those are the people that will dig into that sort of content.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm down with like it's a great system. I mean, like it makes replaying the raids and dungeons, it makes them more viable. One, it makes them worth going back in, and it makes like gathering your friends and not to say that like you still like we keep saying, like, we know there's the group of people that want to instant do those things and get them done, but adding a mount to a dungeon makes people want to play it, right? So clearly adding a mount to the last dungeon, what's that make people do? There's party finders up to like, let's run it till the mount drops. So people are running constantly that last dungeon to get the mount. It's the same thing. Like if you know, Kane in chat, on achievements make achievement points worth something. That's not a bad idea either. If there was some sort of like achievement vendor, or like if you get like dyeable gear sets of stuff that isn't necessarily dyeable, I'd be okay with that, because glamour's true endgame in this game. So
it would almost be against doing that sort of thing. Like I don't think that achievement points need to really be worth anything. I do think that achievements need to have some sort of rewards, whether that's you do it on a per achievement basis or you do a reward system based on achievement points. I think that a reward system is definitely useful, and we do have that kind of already with mounts and pets and gear and stuff. So I don't think we really need to do much more in that case. Especially with a system like this, I don't think that it makes a whole lot of sense to tie anything that's real progression or gear based for it, because there's no idea when you're actually going to get that. Like if you tie gear to it or something that's non-fluff, you might finally unlock something when you're way out geared for it, or vice versa. You'll unlock something really good when you aren't ready for it, and then you either don't know, drop it, lose it, sell it, whatever, or there's no point in getting the gear when you actually get to that point. So I don't really think that we need much for making achievement points worthwhile. I think that they kind of are already to some degree.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see the stuff we get. I haven't gone through like the newer things. Let's see. Guild Wars 2 has perma buffs for how many achievement points you have, like plus 1% HP, plus 3% MP, and so on. Yeah. The thing, I don't know. For me, I think that would hinge people, especially with like end game rating. It would be like, oh well, you can't join this static because you don't have this many achievements to get the efficient amount of HP that a tank needs to run this, and you need to go get like you got to go unlock achievements. So then you're like spending time unlocking achievements, where that stuff could be gear based or not gear based, but. The MMO DC Universe Online has achievement points, and after 100 you get a skill point. You can put them in different passive or to increase stats and give bonus skill. See, my problem with that is that I don't mind it, but the problem here is the system that Final Fantasy XIV uses. And since we're on a Trinity system, essentially, even though it's like a 4-party system, it's still you need a tank. It's a Trinity system, but you need a DPS, you need the tank, you need the healer. And since min-maxing is a thing, people are going to want to be the very best that they can be, especially if you're going to run Savage content. And we know that Savage content does change how things work, because it is very much like, especially like looking at Omega Savage, where the like Halicarnassus fight is totally different from normal, and the fact that Exdeath has Exdeath Prime, or Neo Exdeath, and it's a totally different fight. You want people to be as well equipped as possible, so making them have certain, like, especially if they jump a tune. Let's say if you're, for example, let's say I know Shin's a great healer, and if he jumped a Astrologian up because he wanted to say, well, I'm going to try to ego Astro for the future rating, and he didn't have enough achievement points to get the extra benefits and stuff like that, because he's already spent them on his white mage. Unless he's like, you see him saying like he'd be under the bar, and that's not fair, especially because I know his skill is as a person who can heal and keep support that. And Vladimir in chat, how's that any different from eye level then? It would have put value to the achievement points.
Yes, difference, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would put value to the achievement. Yeah, it would put value to the achievement points. Yes. The thing is that to me, getting a piece of gear is easier versus getting achievement points, because you're not necessarily like, because once you go through and get all the easy ones, because you got to remember, like, you're asking at that point for Final Fantasy to start feeding more achievements that are outside of the story, or you're gonna have to start doing, all right, then now I have to stop what I'm doing and go level crafting to get those achievement points to unlock, unless crafting gives you like I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying that the system we have in this game isn't suited for that. It could be. I'm not saying that it's not a thing that they could do, but right now it's not set up for that. Is that a future expansion thing? Maybe. But I don't know. Like, they would have to really redesign a lot of things to make that happen.
Yeah, like we've seen this past expansion, we've removed that whole the stat point allocation thing, and we've already seen that, like, even starting like racial stat point allocations, people get really down into that level of stuff. So like, I don't think that affecting content in that way, or like your actual abilities and such, makes a lot of sense for this, because you're going to have the people who are min-maxing. You have people that specifically roll certain races to get one extra Fire 4 off in their rotation. Like, there's just that much more that people have to do. So I don't think that it's a great solution to try to tie achievement points to actual character skills or abilities. I think where achievement points can shine is the exact point where achievements themselves shine, in that they add a layer of fluff. They add that extra little bit. You get minions, you get pets, you get mounts, you get titles. Like, they don't actually provide a specific benefit to your character, but they provide a lot of benefit just to you personally.
Yeah. Kane in chat, make achievement points account wide. That's how DCO does. But see, that's not a solution, since it's not like I'm making alts. It's one character and I can do all my classes on that. So it would have to be like my achievements, like it's still like the one character thing. Like, would now, if that was the case of me logging into a different server and then I had all these just sweet achievement points and I can just slam my character. Now, if you want to make achievement, like, to me, if you wanted to make cool buffs or something like that, make it towards, oh, hey, you did this in crafting, you get a permanent buff towards XP. Sure, cool, thanks. And then it's only up to level X or whatever. Like, up to level 50, you get a permanent 20% buff to XP for crafting or gathering. And then when you hit the next level, like once you complete the level 50 quest or whatever it is, and then, you know, you can get a permanent buff to, or you complete the level 60 quest, you get a permanent buff for all the other ones. Like, once you do it once and you're like, here's a permanent buff for XP, so you can level the other ones and incentivize you to keep going. That I'm okay with, and I think they should do stuff like that where they're like, here, we're incentivizing you. Hey, you made one character to max already. Here's this, even though we get the buff already, but here's this like extra layer of buffing to XP gain, so you can get a character quickly up that rank. I'm okay with that. I don't see a problem with. There could be ancillary, and not stat stuff, but stuff that like helps you boost your characters or helps you mount speeds unlocks, or mount, like, you know, we said mounts already, but like things along that nature that would be interesting, and to me would be like stuff that could be beneficial to your characters and your accounts. The gear stuff is really tricky, especially, like I said, just be based on the system. It's more of a trick thing, because when you start looking at people who min-max, they're going to do anything they can to min-max. Absolutely. And if that means achievements, that means a lot of people that only come to this game to raid are going to be left out, because there's a lot of people that say fuck everything else and just raid. And they're not going to spend the time. If you're telling them they got to have achievement points, if you look at their achievement point list, they're like, I do jack shit except raid. So, free companies and community. Yeah. So we covered this on a previous show. We went really in depth with free companies. But essentially, and if you're new to our show, if you're going back and re-listening to all our old shows, bless your heart. But if you did not listen to that show, if you're coming into this and fresh, essentially, Shin and I said that free companies are essentially pointless, and although we thank you all for
so much more.
Yes, like don't take that.
We didn't just bash them. We explained everything of why we think that they're not great, and we had very explicit points of how we can make it better.
Yeah, and actually, we were supposed to be writing. Actually, we were told by a community rep, we were told by a specific community rep that you guys need to sit down and write that and put that on the what's that called, the forums,
the official forums.
Yeah, we were asked to put that on the official forums, because it was stuff like even this person as an FC leader, they said that they would want that stuff, because that's stuff that when we explained it was great. So we can probably touch on some of those things really quick with that. I mean, if you really want to go back, I don't remember what episode 30 something, maybe 30s, no 20s. Listen, it's early days. Listen, I'm only we're about to be episode 50. I'm already like, I can't even tell you what episode that was. Last year. I'll tell you this. Last year. Go listen last year. It was sometime. So I know we pointed out that like FC specific content. Now, I'm not saying that this content needs to be specifically for FCs. I'm saying that there needs to be a bonus or a buff or something extra for FCs, a willingness to make people want to join their FC and go do these things. Now, Diadem was a good example, Diadem 1.0, where you could do the higher difficulties and you needed the airships, which are now rendered useless, by the way. I want to point that out. And now they're like, hey, we're going to give you submarines that you can go build, and then you can go do submarine stuff. I'm like, no, that's it's going to be pointless unless you're putting out stuff out in the ether that we need to collect for crafting purposes, which is a BS reason, by the way. But it shouldn't be that way, right? Like, you should be able to say, well, 2.0 should have still had the FC thing to it. Should have been added. You could still queue solo, but I think that us having a higher chance of getting that random raid boss to pop would have been cool, or bonuses to being in there. We could have gotten more of those little tokens, like little things like that to say, hey, you're coming in here with a group of your FC folks. Cool, here's these bonuses. And it makes doing FC content fun. Like, you could schedule that stuff. Like, hey, Friday nights is Diadem nights.
And there's not a lot of reason. There's not a lot, even a reason to do it with your FC, even if you are in an FC. Like, if you want to run Diadem, then you go out and just run it. There's no reason to bring your FC. But if you had things like, maybe experience bonuses or loot bonuses when you're running with an FC group, or you get temp buffs when you're doing it with an FC group. I know there are the FC buffs. They're not really that helpful necessarily. EQ2 had banners and such that you can go and you could place in dungeons and raids that you could only purchase as part of a guild. Or, as we mentioned before, doing achievements or challenging things that you can only unlock as an FC. Or even more community finding stuff like the calendar. You're saying you could schedule stuff. Well, maybe if we had an in-game calendar that only the FC could access and sign up for things, like, there are many, many opportunities here that they could improve upon this. And they've talked about some of them in the past, like having alliances of free companies that can work together on things or have communication channels, or even having like free company versus free company PvP type stuff, or having there's a lot of things that they could do. And cross-server free companies, of course, can't come soon enough.
Yeah. Let's see. So right now, yeah, and then really there isn't really anything to engage members. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I know I'm an FC leader, but it's hard. Like, it's hard because people, like, numbers dropped real hard. And listen, I'm not blind to it. I talk to Shin about it a lot. I'm like, hey, listen, I see this. I know what's going on, and I pay attention to it. But it's hard because they're outside of the rating scene, right? Like, what can I do to incentivize people to come in and play? There's nothing much I can do. Like, there's not much I can actually do. Now, there is an email from Thalados we'll get into. He makes some points about FC stuff, and we'll get into that. But like, even if I go and organize these things, I mean, there's certain things I can't organize, like, right? Like, I can't organize, like, all right, this night we can do Aquapolis runs, right? Because we have maps of something we can gather during the week and say, all right, well, we have a supply for the end of the week. However many it may be, we can do, that's something tangible that I can say on this day we can do this, right? We can do mountain farms, and I can say, all right, well, we can do that. But there also comes into a problem of, if we do this now, then we run into the risk of when the next expansion is going to roll around, when we could be doing that stuff, we do it now and everybody gets their mounts now, then it's kind of like SOL later.
There's a finite amount of times that you can do certain things, or things get old or stale and you don't want to run them anymore. So there's a limit to running that sort of content. Yeah.
So, I mean, Shin and I are busy. Don't get me wrong. Like, listen, I promise we will, can we say within the next 2 months, we will write something out and put it on the forums about how to improve free companies.
Can say it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you can say it.
All right. Listen, I'm just saying within 2 months, we'll put something together. I may have to go back and listen to that old episode and maybe jot down some notes, and then maybe us just trying to like layer it out. and put it up. And you'll see what we had. I know we're not touching on everything, but there was a lot to what I mean, I'll leave out the rant that I did. I kind of yelled at people. I did kind of yell at a lot of people. Crafting classes.
Well, wait 1 second. I do want to touch on these
okay.
last points a little bit more.
Sure.
Particularly, like, we don't have anything that kind of engages people to stay or participate in FC events. Like, you can get all of the members that you want, and you can organize a time to go and do something. But if no one shows up or not enough people show up, you really are at the mercy of your members, right? Like, you can be the most active organizer of to everything and have it all planned out, but if no one shows up or not enough people show up, you can't actually go through with these events. So, like, there's nothing that, even if you're trying to be the most engaging, most relevant, and doing all these events and stuff, you still can't always pull it off necessarily. And I think that's a problem in itself. There's also, on that same note, there's no reason that a person should stay in an FC, and they can hop to whatever one that they feel like that day being a part of. There is that sense of community, but at some point, that just kind of disappears.
And we see that a lot on Famfrit. I've seen people jump into our FC. They're there for like 3 weeks. They seem nice. They're enjoying their time, and then next thing I know, they jumped out and they're in another FC. And it happens consistently. It happens a lot, actually. And the last thing on here is that managing is a thankless job. I don't ask for praise. I don't ask for thanks from anybody in the FC. I never will. It's
I put that point on there specifically because I have done that in the past, and not so much that you're expecting something or anything, but like, you are putting in that extra time, and it feels like there should be some sort of reward for that. Like, not necessarily from the FC, but there should be, the game should almost be rewarding you for the effort that you put in. Like, for example, unlocking more features that you can help the FC or that you can use within the FC, or unlocking different things or tools, like things that will help and make your life easier as an FC leader.
You mean like in Warcraft, where once I got the guild to the top rank, I unlocked the 8th bank tab, and we had fucking like all 8 bank tabs. There was so much space that it was so great to organize, and everybody could put stuff in. We have, that. Let me talk about something that needs to fucking get an increase in this goddamn game, is that goddamn guild bank. That thing is fucking, it's worthless. It's so pointless. It's great for holding money. It's not great for anything else. Please let me do like FC achievements. Every
post
2 months. All right. Crafting classes. Grind. There needs to be something. I don't know if it's just an XP buff, or make the XP gains from crafting and gathering better so that you could get further along and get up to where you need to be.
I've been told that the Final Fantasy XIV crafting system is one of the more interesting ones out there. And as a crafter, as not a crafter, I really don't know as much. I do like parts of it, and I do think it's interesting. I don't know if it necessarily is that unique or that different from certain things. Like, it's a really interesting system. I think they could continue to expand upon it.
Yes.
Like, we're seeing new things with adventuring classes. Like this last expansion, we have like resource management, we have the gauges, we have all these different things. I don't think we see as much experimentation within the crafting.
No, and to be honest, the crafting class needs an overhaul. Like and to be fair, like, it's a lot. That would have been a lot to ask for them to do overhaul the class system and the crafting system. Now, don't get me wrong.
Right.
If that's next expansion where they're like, hey, we're overhauling the crafting system this time, and we're gonna, figure that crap out, because you essentially, you could do like a better rotation system on that. Don't get me wrong, there's people out there that make like 1-button macros, are just like, hey, look, I'm doubling down and HQing the shit out of this or whatever. And I get it, but at the same time, like, when I was leveling And fishing is easy because you can just go buy fish, and the market prices have been pretty awesome. Like I was able to level pretty fat. Like I was able to just go buy a shit ton of fish for dirt cheap and then just go jump levels like it was nobody's business. But like gathering my wood gatherer, my tree whisperer,
Different from your woodsmith.
Well, yeah, no, my woodsmith smiths wood. My tree whisperer whispers trees. It's the grind is still there. Like they're like, hey, we give you XP buffs, and I could tell like, there were certain areas where I was like, all right, I'm chopping wood and I'm getting like 1,000 XP per hit, which is pretty good if you consider I'm getting 6 hits per thing, so it's 6,000 XP, a little over per node, which isn't bad, but it could be better. And I think they could bump that up, because what's the point, honestly? Like you don't need to be in those zones gathering. You're not benefiting anybody being in those zones gathering or crafting. You're not benefiting the lower level characters that can now jump and increase and get up there. Like if they said, hey, listen, you jump a class, we'll give you a gathering or a crafting class at level 50, and you'll just have to go from 50 to 70. That's cool. I would have done that. Or if, hey, you can jump a crafting class. Like, let me jump crafting classes for like less than however much it costs to do that, like $15 versus, I'll jump them all if I take my money. Here, got them all up. Make money. But something needs to be done, because like having to sit here like watching Netflix, all you do is grind, and that's pointless. Like, and don't get me wrong, like the earring, the Alamegan earring helps. Good friends over at Moog Around, Paul Metal was like, hey, just put on the Alamegan earring and the feather hat and everything, and put all these buffs on and just synthesize stuff for stacks. And he wasn't wrong. Like, you could just sit there, set it to synthesize, and walk away. And then I was just popping levels. I was like, oh, all right, well, that works. It sucks, but I can kind of auto. Now, if I can get a macro that auto click synthesize over, I have a sweet mouse that I could probably auto program to hit like 2 buttons and just have it auto hit the things to make repeat and make. Now I could probably do that and sit here.
You could just do the auto synthesize.
No, I'm saying like have my mouse click the thing to like even go further. I know, but you have to click auto synthesize. Like, is there something I don't know about?
Over like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, no, yeah. No, I don't, like, I can just have my mouse auto even do the other buttons. I don't even have to sit here. I could play Final Fantasy 15 while I auto synthesize here, and I don't even have to hit the button to hit the button.
Pretty sure that's against the terms of use.
No, it's not. My mouse does it. That's programming. You can just program it from.
No, that's it. It's unassisted gameplay.
Not if my mouse lets me do it.
Yes, it is.
How would they know? My mouse is just letting me. It's not a bot. I'm doing it myself, technically.
That's the definition of a bot.
It's a. Well, Logitech. No, the fucking Logitech shouldn't allow me to do that then.
No, that's not a good argument.
Then what? Wait, so my ability to do it? Wait, I'm not installing any third-party software. This is software that's already comes with my Logitech thing. I could just program it.
Third party.
But
anything that's not released by Square Enix is a third-party software.
Motherfucker! Wait a minute. That's a gray fucking area, right?
No, it's not. That's exactly the definition of third party.
Yeah, but all right. So if I tell my mouse, right, and I hit a button and it auto clicks shit for me, that's I am now like against terms of service.
Yes.
Versus me getting something that auto fucking runs my character around. Like as long as I already had the mats and everything, and I just sit here and monitor it.
They're basically those are the exact same things. Yes.
So instead of me just sitting here and just clicking the button to hit auto synthesize, and I have it auto programmed to click the button for me, that there's that finite line is where I'm crossing.
Yes, it's when you actually don't have to do anything to do it. That's when you cross the line. If you actually have to do input in order for it to work, if you are physically doing it, then you should be.
But how would they know?
You'd be surprised.
How? But they would know. Like, it still inputs off my mouse, though.
Yeah, we can get into this another time, but the input that the information that they get could detect that. Yes.
Sack of shit. Don't let me do that. Don't give me the ability to do it and then not like. Well, see, how many people I see that on fucking Reddit are like, "Hey, if you have the Logitech software, just do this and fucking auto run that bitch."
Oh no, technically that's violating the terms of use.
Oh well, hey Reddit, don't tell me to fucking violate terms of use. I don't know what's going on there.
Like, technically, running like the SuiteFX stuff is also that's a third-party software that is violating terms of use. Whether Square decides to,
they said that's cool though.
That, yeah, it depends on. It's like this is why all of this is against terms of use. It's up to Square to decide if they want to
pursue that.
Exactly.
That's why they don't fucking bash people with fucking parsers unless you actually like come out and attack somebody with a like the parse number.
Exactly.
So really,
you were doing automated crafting and you're having it click a few buttons for you. Probably not going to be too bad. If you have it automatically level you from 1 to 60, you have a much larger problem.
No, all right,
but if it's like clicking continue every 10 minutes or something, you're probably not going to get caught.
I'm probably fine, right? But if I get sent to in-game jail, you bet your ass I'm streaming that live. Because I do want to do that.
No, you wouldn't be at the computer.
Well, they're like, he's still imagine that shit. I'm not even at the computer and I'm still crafting. I would love that. Can we make that happen? I want that to happen.
That's called a bot. Even if it's a very simplistic bot, it's a bot.
I think they're like, why are you still crafting? I'm like, I love to craft, synthesize.
Anyways, we have one last topic here, and that's raids.
Yeah.
I got nothing on that one, actually.
Yeah, I know you like them. You're okay with them. Me?
I'm not a hardcore raider, though, anymore.
Well, I mean, fuck, who the hell is... I mean, besides the first world firsters, who are... Listen, honestly, if you look at Twitter, nobody's a hardcore raider. Everybody's just raiding. Like, if you look, they're just like, I'm raiding, and they're pugging half the time. Like, some people have static, some people don't. They're just like, you can pug... Let's see, you know how bad, like, easy... I'm not saying... Well, I shouldn't say easy. Yeah, no, easy. You know how easy this version of versus like previous versions of hard mode content is? That people are pugging it and passing it, which is good. Don't get me wrong. That's where a good level base of content should be, that people should be able to pug it and get through. Now, should you know your class? Yes. Should you be adding tier 6 material to your gear? Yes. Should you be geared properly? Yes. All that beautiful stuff. I mean, do I think you need a static for this raids? No. I mean, if you get a good group of people that know their shit and they're on top of their game, you could pass it.
It's a trick, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is. Not to say that like I wouldn't run this with my FC folks. Like I would if I had if I can get a majority of them, even if it's not a full party, even if I had like, hey, I can get 6 of us, at least I know I have 6 people that I can depend on to do this content. And because I hold them at a high, not that I'm holding them to a higher, like, you know, like you fuck up, it's game over. It's not like that. It's more I trust my ability to pass the content higher than I would trust somebody random I don't know, because I've run content with them, so I know that they're capable of doing the fights. I know that they've seen normal, and I know that they'll roll into hard mode and they can handle it, so that's not a problem. But do I think that raids need... I will say this, Neo X-Death is a good example of where they should be going. I think that having that extra, like that special secret boss at the end that was all new, was only added, and Halicarnassus having all new games, board games and floor games and stuff like that weren't the frog necessarily, that were like books and everything else, and split the party across the map. That's cool too. I think that's really good. I think those are smart ideas, because I think, you know, we need more of that. I know what's going on in chat. You guys are chitty chatting about crafting.
Yeah, a lot of our just brought up one improvement for Final Fantasy XIV crafting from inventory So you don't have to call the retainer, open your inventory, get things from the retainer, close the inventory, quit the retainer. So you could actually just, if the retainer has the equipment or if you have the equipment, doesn't matter. It just automatically pulls the
items.
material,
There,
the
here.
materials from wherever, whether it's your bank or your retainers or your inventory, and just lets you craft.
I agree there.
That'd be a huge improvement.
That would be fantastic. Because you know how many times I'm like, shit. You know how many times I'll go and buy things and I'm like, oh wait, now I always have to remember to do /I search. By the way, can we get a better searching system? Because
I'm glad that they have one.
They have one, but it doesn't tell you what retainer. If they said, hey, it's on retainer X, at least told you the retainer name. Because you have that information, you log that character's name in.
I really like this in EQ2. EverQuest 2 had it so you could pull it from your bank, but they also improved it even further and they allowed you to pull materials from the guild bank automatically.
Seriously?
So they have retainers in EQ2. So they have things you could hire and keep in your guild house, and they would automatically harvest for you. So you didn't have to go and harvest. You could just send these things out once every 2 to 6 hours or whatever it was, and then talk to them again. They'd give you a whole bunch of stuff that they found and you can send them out again. So you take all that stuff and you put it directly into the guild bank, and the entire guild could then craft with those items. And that, I think, was a really awesome system. It took away a lot from gatherers, but at the same, it didn't really bring back rare items so much. It was more for the mundane, normal things that you would find. But it meant that you'd have to do a lot less harvesting if you wanted to craft, and it was great.
Actually, I would love a guild retainer. I think retainers for guilds would be great. Like something like characters that we could send out in the world to get gather materials for us for that would go directly into a larger guild bank, because we don't have fucking space in ours. But that would be I would love that. That's essentially what the fucking airships are right now. They're like guild retainers that just go out and collect shit for us, and come back with nothing. Anyway, raids. All right, so let me finish up with the raids real quick. Neo Access is a good point of where hard content, besides changing up how the harder content is, but you're also changing up the strats, and it's not the same fight, which I think is great. To me, I get the idea that yes, people don't have the time or they just want to go straight to the boss. I do like a little bit of flair. I do like a little bit of I think Omega could have been we could have been jumping through those cool teleportal 80s hoops and shit like that and gone through 80s Omega world, because I think that place is interesting to me. I only got that little bit of story and got to the point where I needed to be.
Omega world.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Don't tell me it's not. It's like a night. What does it say? It was being in a 90s video game movie. The airships do not think now?
Do nothing.
Oh. That's a weird time. Yes. You're right. They do. I mean, they do. You can go collect shit, but they're useless. Palmetals, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird thing to think, but I kind of dig raids with story and big old bosses, and I like seeing maps, and don't get me wrong, I love Firelands and WoW. I love that. That was an open essentially the whole instead of it being it was a raid, but it was a massive open zone, and you could see right across. I think did EQ have one like that, EQ2, where it was a raid?
Had a few, yeah.
It had, yeah. And I love that. I love the idea of I can just go in here and and I can see all the bosses. You can see them all making their paths, and you're yeah, I'm gonna go in there and do Firelands and do the thing, get the bird mount, and fucking Palmetto. I like WoW raids. WoW raids were the fucking awesome. He knows it's up.
And I do have to say though, Final Fantasy does not have those raids. It has never had those raids, and I think that's a completely fine choice for them to not do those style of raids.
Now, it doesn't have them. Now, I will say this. I am okay with how they have their rating system to a point. I think a lot of people, and I'm not the only one because we've heard it at FanFest, people do really enjoy the alliance raids. Now, I don't think that I think that if you could organize alliance, especially with cross server stuff, if you could organize a better group of people to do alliance raids, or even do if you have a FC large enough to do it yourself, I don't see why you couldn't do alliance raids with a large group and make that like something better. Because I think that like like us traversing and doing like I enjoy that. Like I think what was it, the not Lost City. Although I love Mach and I love the Ozma fight, but I think all of them, all three of them were fantastic. I think I had a blast doing that. I would love doing those raids more than I did like Alexander.
So I'll address Paul's comment that they did the 24-man raids, but I disagree with that. Even though there are 24 people involved in those raids, they are nothing like a 24-person raid in WoW, EverQuest 2, Rift, Guild Wars 2. They are a completely different thing that just happens to be called a raid as well. Like I do not think that any raid in Final Fantasy matches well with raiding in most other games. Parts of them, yes. Like I find that a single boss in a Savage raid could probably link to a single boss in a lot of other games, but not on the full scale of a massive open world, or not open world, but open raid zone like certain games do. And on that note as well, like I don't think having, you said if you could actually get 24 people together and do an alliance raid, I don't think that that's as possible anymore, right? Like even now you look with a lot of WoW content, they're moving towards the 12 or 10 person stuff, and they're moving towards less and less people because trying to get 24 people together is really, really hard. And I remember even now, like, what is it, 7 or 8 years ago when I was last leading raids, we rarely had a night with more than 16 people that we could actually field a full raid force on.
I would say, all right, how do I put this? Yes and no, right? So like what WoW started doing was people in Warcraft wanted hard difficulty, but they wanted it to be on a scale that they could actually do some hard difficulty. So what they did is the WoW started experimenting with different things. So and just in case you've never played Warcraft, I'll go through those systems really quick. Now are these systems viable? I don't think necessarily for Final Fantasy, just because of how our setup is. So they have flux rating, first of all. So for your, all right, well, first of all, they have LFR, looking for raid, which is essentially, how do I guess it's our normal version, is that LFR is their normal. It's the easiest form of the content. So if you just wanted to see the raid story, you would do LFR. It still comes with a tier of raiding gear. Is it hard? No. Use it random. You can just you just go in there with a random group of people. You just run through the bosses. It's fairly easy. If you just wanted to see a story, or even use it as a step to get gear, or just need you to do normal, you can do that. Now, normal is where it begins. You have your flex rating, normal and hard. So you can do anywhere between 10 to 25 people, anywhere in between. So you can bring 11. So if you have 11 people in your guild that night and you want to run a raid, you can bring 11 people. That's how their system works. It works on an incremental thing. So it's like, all right, I don't remember the numbers. It's like for every so many people, then it starts going like, all right, it's going to add this much health and this much more damage to the boss. But since you can bring, 15 people in, it doesn't matter, because it could be like, all right, so now we have 3 5-man groups, so we're always going to have a healer, 3 DPS, and 3 tanks. Or you can sub a tank out. You can do 2 tanks and have an extra healer, or have an extra DPS. Like you could set it up however you want. And then it's beneficial. But you can also have 13 people, 15, 17 people. It doesn't matter. Like it's gonna, the raids will adjust according to the group of people, up to 25. Mythic is your hardest form of raiding content in that game. And that's where you're gonna have like your extra boss, or your guaranteed mount drop at the end. The best tier of gear is gonna come from that, and it's 20 people. That's it, and you need 20 people to do that content. There's no Mythic 10. And I could be misspeaking, Paul. If I'm wrong, let me know. I haven't raided since I didn't do it in Warlords. Maybe Miss. I did a little bit of raiding in Miss before I was out. So if something changed, let me know. I know you've played. I think you've played Legion. I think you may have raided in Legion, but let me know. but I know for sure that Mythic is the hardest version. Now, what they did on the flop side of that, speaking of dungeons, is that they added the Keystone Mythic system in dungeons, where it's 5-player content, and so you get a Mythic key, and you do this one raid, and it's got a boon or buff or whatever to the like. All right, so when you go in, it's like, all right, so you're gonna go in, it's gonna be a little bit harder. The mobs are gonna hit harder, but also the mobs explode and do extra damage all of a sudden when you kill them. So it's these modifiers to the dungeon, and if you beat one, you keep going, and it gets harder and harder until you get to a point. Now, the higher you go, like I think it's like every 5, your loot, the guaranteed loot drop you're gonna get is gonna get better. So if you're up to like 15, 20, your eye level's gonna go up. You may get a chance at a legendary item. It's gonna be a higher tier, and you can get raid level gear at a 5-man group level. Is that something that Final Fantasy could do? Absolutely. You could do those crazy ass hard dungeons, or you could do this thing where it's like, all right, well, we're gonna put modifiers in a dungeon area, and then like that would make small group content that is viable for everybody to do, that gives you gear that is capable of getting you into the raids or capable of you keeping up with everybody else, that isn't just me farming tomes or anything like that. But that's their system.
Yeah, and the smaller stuff makes sense. But I think that really doing even over 12 people, over 10, 15 people is almost impossible at this point to try to not only organize and get that many people together and following the same strategies, but particularly, yeah, even just getting that group together is almost impossible at this day.
I agree. I mean, like WoW's experimented with like the redo of Karazhan, which they turned a raid into a 5-man. I think I can't remember what they called it. I don't know. I don't want to say super dungeon, but it was hard. It was harder than a dungeon. Like it was like a mini raid essentially. Like it was a 5-person.
Yeah,
raid.
and like taking content and shrinking it down for smaller groups, that I think is great. Like that would be a really good design. It's when you design content for those 15, 20, 24 people groups, it becomes too much trying to manage at once.
I don't get me wrong, I agree. I think if we had a flex system in place, that'd be different, but we don't have that. Like that's, to me, that would be the only way to get alliance raids to be a thing that is viable. If we could do anywhere between the, I don't know what number you'd start off, I guess with 8 to 24 would be your span, and then if they could like adjust accordingly, I'd be okay with that. So
it's a little bit harder, I think, with this one, particularly because we have very specific group makeups and they tune everything for those specific group makeups. So it does become a lot harder.
You're right. But we're also supposed to get Savage Alliance content. I'm not sure what that is. I know it's supposed to be just one boss. You go in and get out. So I don't know what that entails. I don't know if it's 8 people. I don't know if it's 24 people going in and trying to do it. We do not know what that is yet. To me, I think when we saw God, what was his name? We played it at FanFest. I just don't remember the name of the boss.
Ultima?
Yes, Ultima. If Ultima, like, when we did it at FanFest, I thought that was way better than what we got at the end. To me, I felt like it was more now it could have been on the fact that we weren't used to that setup and we didn't copy our setups here, which, by the way, next time I go, I'm making sure I'll even I'll sneak a thumbstick in with my character information and plug it into this.
Yeah, do that on the PS4.
I'll find a PC. They have PCs there too. I'll find
They did. We weren't on them.
We weren't. We knew better. We should have gotten the PC line. So I don't know. Raids are a tricky subject. Raids are so tricky because I just want to see more cool things, and I like big expanding things. So I guess I'll just have to go do alliance raids. Anyway, let's finish the rest. We'll finish the show here. We've been going for a while again. This is from Thalatus. Great show last week. This is 2 weeks ago, but great show 2 weeks ago. I'm sending you some ideas for improving Final Fantasy XIV or how to get more activity in the FC. Number 1, hold organized weekly events, raids, maps, Ixion hunts, etc. That's not a bad idea. We've talked about that. It's yet again,
Getting
it's a problem.
People.
It's the people. Now, are certain things viable? Yes. The maps are totally viable. You can do, what is it, 3 to 8 people on those?
Yep.
You need at least 3. So totally viable with that. Ixion, that is That's unfortunately that depends. Now with can you get a bunch of people together and go between the zones and say, all right, Ixion's up on this one? Yes. But it's hard to predict when Ixion will actually be up. So hunts is different. Hunts is something you can do. If you wanted to get a group together and do hunts and go and try to do those. Raiding is also something you could set up. As
Like, then you're at the
for
mercy of people.
yes, and it's really hunts really not like you can get people together and like random people will show up for hunts, but same for Ixion. It's really we're at the mercy of people. Now, if we were okay with pugging the other whatever we had, like hey, we're gonna meet up Tuesdays and raid, but it doesn't matter how many people show up and we'll just pug the rest. That's a different story. Number 2, run new people through MSQ dungeons or help DPS get out 30-minute queues. Yeah, that's just generally being nice. I usually, if anybody needs help, we'll ask. Try not to be a dick. So most people are usually like, and especially at RFC, most people are fine. Like they're usually grouped up together. If I know somebody's like having a rough time with like a boss or something like that, I'm like, hey, yo, you need me to tank? What's going on there? The problem is I only have one thing level and it's my tank. So if somebody else is like, I'm a tank and I'm having trouble, I'm like, well, you're fucked because that's all I got. I'm sorry.
It's true. It's happened a few times.
It has.
We've also 2 tanked dungeons and stuff, though.
Yeah, we have. Don't think I can't do that because I will. Hold an FC party in game. People get in Discord, talk, social hour, and FC. That's not a bad idea. Honestly, that's really not. It's yet again people. Like I don't want to show. Like listen, like real parties, I don't want to throw a party and like nobody show up. Then I'm just like, now I'm just left. It's just me with a 6-foot party sub.
And I think something like that is a lot harder. I don't think you can really organize that so much. It tends to happen more organically, I think. The last time I remember this was when we had a couple FC mates who had a wedding, and a bunch of us just kind of chilled in there for a couple hours and were just hanging out. But I don't think this is something that you can kind of just say like, hey, we're going to go and we're just going to chat and kill time right now.
Now, if we were to do something like this, I would say like if we were to organize a community event based around our FC on the server, that would be something different. Like I could say like everybody on the server is welcome to come out and join Maelstrom Raid, like our Garuda gang out on over by the beach for the fireworks and Moonfire Fair event. Will be everybody on the server is welcome to come meet us out there. That's a different story. I could see that happening where it's more open, and you can have the FC come out, or I'm sorry, you can have the FC. It could be an FC event for the whole community in the server, and that has worked. And that I see other people on Twitter and other shows like Luna Vox did it with her on Hyperion. What? I shouldn't ask. I should never look. So it's stuff like that. Now are people welcome? Like if we do that and people are, yeah, we'll let people in on, we have a public, our server's public. So people are welcome to come in here and hang out there. You know, we don't care. Go glamour hunting, run content and get wanted glamour items. This probably goes in the same vein as the mount runs.
MSQ stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, really that's, I want an item, whether it's for glamour, whether it's for gear because I'm not geared, or because I want it. I get it. Same with mounts. Yeah, it's
the fox hunt is probably up there with Ixion. Unfortunately, the fox is you got to know the timing, and like if it already popped on our server, then it's like you go and do it. Now, can you just go do the fox fates and just hope? Sure.
I think this also kind of goes with the next one, which is fate parties.
Yeah.
A lot of us have PTSD from trying to do the relic quest last time, the anima quests. So fates are a little bit of a pain, but yeah, you could get a group go and do it. But I think again, a lot of these things are things that you can do as an FC, but I don't know if it's necessarily something that you organize in advance. It's something like you would go and be like, hey, does anyone want to run some fates? Hey, does anyone want to run this dungeon? I want this piece of gear. Hey, do you want to come help me with this quest, or can you help me kill this boss?
Bro, I have PTSD from fucking Yokai Watch. Fucking
so many issues with fates.
Run mount quests. Are there mount quests that I don't know about? I mean, there's a white mage one, but I don't think there's actual mount quests, right? There are mount drop. I think what he meant is like the primals.
There's the egg. That was the seasonal event.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the seasonal ones have mounts.
yeah, but yeah, I
Yeah,
he had
most of them.
he had to meet primals. He had to have been the primals. He had to have.
Yeah,
Like
extreme.
yeah. Which is fine. Yeah, I mean, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like let's say if we wanted to do a part PvP PvP mount boys, I got mine already. I got all 3 of them, so you know, get on my fucking level. I would say if you're gonna do the X primal, if you're gonna do the EX primals, to me, I would say during closer to like the end of the expansion is probably when you want to go do that stuff. Now, to me, you could probably do like a midway point. Like after 4.1, you could probably say, all right, well, we're going to concentrate in running the EX of 2.0 and get everybody get their ponies. And then unlock the can't remember the hell that mount is. The Ichiban mount? I think so. Something.
I don't remember.
It's the weird horse. Golden horse. And then like closer to 4.3 at the end near that one. Like kind of like every other odd one set up and then be like, all right, we're gonna go farm burbs and do burb farms.
And even with that, like you can run even the current content to get the mounts, and
but if you
some
wanted to
people
pace
still are
it,
running them.
but if you wanted to pace it where it was like, all right, let's not slam.
But you can't really even pace it, right? Like you're pacing the content now for 4.0, but as soon as 5.0 comes out, you're done all of the content and you can't pace it anymore, right? So
Yeah,
there is a limit to what you can pace.
yeah. I don't know why the word
And
pace became really funny all of a sudden, but it.
I think these next couple ones too, like dungeon parties, gearing FC members to run Savage, and running FC members who still need to unlock content. I think that kind of falls into a lot of these ones above, like finishing MSQ dungeons or just getting gear or stuff like that. Like it's things that you can do as an FC, but not necessarily organize as specific FC events per se. And yeah, I have seen this while we were like in the FC. If someone needs something, they'll be like, "Hey, I need to run this. Can you help me?" And people will be like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Well, don't
But
get
in
me
terms of
wrong.
like specific organized content, that's a lot harder to try to do and to get people involved with.
Like, and don't get me wrong, like when it's coming closer to the end of an expansion, like a lot of people check out now. But my problem is what I'm seeing is that people have already started checking out, unfortunately. And I'm seeing it on Twitter. Like Scarlett had made a point of saying, "I have issues like the honeymoon's over, and I'm starting to see a lot of issues that weren't changed. Like I feel like this is just a continuation of Heavensward." And it is a little bit like there were some new stuff, but there wasn't a lot of new stuff. It was new story, it was new dungeons, but there wasn't a lot of quality of life. There wasn't a lot of new content. Excuse me, outside of the MSQ, outside of the dungeons and the primals, which don't get me wrong, that's a lot of content. But there's no new shiny gem for us to go do to keep us involved. Like there wasn't like there's a Palace of the Dead, or hey, there was X, or hey, there was this. Now,
to be fair, we grinded through like 20-30 hours of content in a few days, but that's
sure did. Yeah, that we sure did. Now is that on us? Probably. But to be fair, like even running, like to me, to even like running, like looking at the tome hike that I have to get gear, like if they would have said, hey, the tomes you're going to be able to get are at the same level that Heavensward was at, or like I don't know if did they bump up the Heavensward tomes at some point? Like I don't remember it being this bad. Yeah. All right, well they need to keep that system because
it's pretty much the same. Like when I was looking at the costs and the way that you acquire stuff, it seems to be about the same difficulty as before.
I know, and I've already told like, hey, run the last 2 dungeons and you'll get enough, like a day and a half. And
I would say particularly if I remember the last time that we were on those steps, you never geared up until we started getting more stuff, like more tomes per dungeon and such.
Yeah.
So I was already fully geared by that point, or mostly geared at that point, and you guys were just starting.
Yeah, and then I caught up pretty quick. It was great.
Right.
So it was
yeah,
fine.
this is the normal. This is the tick of everything, and everything goes, and it's really expensive. Then we get the talk, and everything kind of becomes less expensive, and you're preparing for the next phase where it gets expensive again.
Can I also say that a lot of this fucking gear is gross and ugly? Like, it's fucking bad. Like, I don't like any of the designs, none of it. Like, my AF gear was fantastic, but I don't know what happened. I don't know. They're like, hey, Glamorous Trend Game. Well, why does everything look like poop? Everything.
You can glamour it.
Dude, I don't. But no, there's no love. Nothing. Like the Omega regular gear looks like shit. I look like a brown poop samurai. I don't like that. Nobody wants to look like a brown poop samurai. I haven't
Yeah, I
looked.
was gonna say, for once, I absolutely love the healer gear. We
because
don't
that
just
looks
have like dress.
that looks decent. But you know what though? I have to say the tome gear for the tanks looks fantastic. I don't know why the tank gear looks so fucking good. It looks better than now. I haven't seen Savage gear. I mean, maybe I need to go peek over at the Savage gear. Maybe it looks better. I don't know. But the tank gear looks fine. Yeah, the creation tank gear is boss. It is so fucking good. Oh, it's so good. That gear is good, but a lot of the other gear is no good. But my problem, yet again, my problem lies with me having like to go do this tome farm to get this gear. Like, I don't know. I got a lot of issues. Got a lot of problems. Got a lot of problems with it. I don't know. Like, I feel like other MMOs are offering like more ways to get gear than just this grind. And because right now the grind is wearing people thin, specifically my co-host, and me too. Like, honestly, I'm just
ground.
No,
I have not done any grinding.
You haven't, but do you have the urge to? Do you have the need or want?
No, but that's also not because of the grind so much.
Is it?
It is. I haven't run the content enough to be tired of it. I've done most of these dungeons only once.
That's true. See, he's not lying there. You're not. But I have. I've done it more than once. I'm just like, I do like Kugane Castle though. That's fine. Because I like Yojimbo. Actually, fuck it. Tome gear looks sexy and high end. The Savage gear, I got some smell old Sam gear. Fuck you, Essie. Paul Metal in chat, everybody. All right. Well, that's all I really got. Listen, Thaldus. I want to thank you for the email. It's hard. Like it's not that I don't want to run, and I'm going to say this as an FC leader. Like, it's hard for me to sit down and say, all right, I want to plan these things out, because I've planned things out in the past, and I've had people not show up for things, and I've had people show up for other things. Like maps gets people excited. If I say, hey, we're going to run Aquapolis, I don't know what it is. Fucking all of a sudden I got members coming out of the woodworks for fucking Aquapolis. And I know why. Aquapolis has the off chance of getting everybody loot or minions, and like you get money. There's a chance that we may not make it to the 7th floor. Like there's a like we're all like, especially if we have a certain FC member opening doors and watching him freak out as he has this like conniption fit over like not picking the right one, which is fantastic. I like that. I want more of that. Like, we need to. It's that content that I want. I've been deep into PvP recently. Something I didn't think would be possible in this game. I've been doing the feast, and I want to try to at least get to silver. I don't even want to get for diamond. I at least want to get silver. Now, I will say this. As a tank, we didn't talk about PvP. I'm just going to touch on this real quick on the feast thing, and then we're out of here. I don't like. Listen, I understand why you can't group up as a group, but I don't like that. I don't like it, and I understand why you don't want people to do it, but can I explain that like having no communication with a group or party outside those buttons is a pain in the ass, because you're like fall back. You're slamming the fall back button. You can't hit it fast enough. They have a little timer on them. Like, they have their own fucking cooldown before you can keep hitting them, and nobody's listening, and you're dying, and you're like, listen, we're ahead of the game right now. If we fall back and let them come to a choke point, we'll be able to take them out because they're dumb. And you, bro, fucking thank you for healing me.
PvP is terrible.
It hurts because I know I know when I make a mistake, I get down on myself, but like, I don't know, but there's like a bunch of other things. Like I got into a match with Denmo, or aka McStronghuge, the content creator / YouTube. He's on the Primal and he does PvP there, and he was my healer, and he accidentally DC'd, and that fucked us because when he DC'd, and he like I took a picture and I sent it to him like, hey bro, I was like, hey, I'm like, hey hotshot, and he's like, I'm sorry for the DC. I'm like, I don't give a shit. DC's happen. I've been DC'd in PvP, so I don't harp on people for it. I just thought it was funny that I saw him. And he's just as he doesn't say anything. He can't, because I wanted to message him, but you can't chat in fucking PvP. So I find inherent problems with PvP. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's it. I think that's all we got. I mean, we can't really improve the game. I mean, can we make more Here's the thing. Let me end it like this. We can't continue to allow FC to make concessions for things if they're not going to be able to deliver the content that they're promising. So the new content that they're promising really needs to deliver. It really needs to drive home the fact that people are spending their money to see better and new content in this game. Are there things that we want to see them doing? Yes, and they should be doing. I think they should take those risks. If they're willing to take risks on new content, absolutely. But if we get stuff like Verminion again, I can't handle that. My heart can't handle that. Because I think they're better than that. I know they're better than that. If they can salvage a 1.0 and bring out a 2.0 and make it a popular MMO, a successful MMO, you have 10 million people that have at least touched this game. I'm not gonna say that's how many players we have, but at least touched this game. That's an impressive number of people playing your game, or at least have touched and tried your game, because that includes like trial accounts, and that's an impressive number. That's not something to you know. Like that should engage you. It should drive you to make people want to keep growing that number. You know, here on the show we say don't rest on our laurels. Like keep trying to do exciting new things. And I think that if Yoshi P has the you know, the cojones that I think he has, I hope that he has a lot of good ideas, and I'm excited. I do want to see them. Fucking what the hell? Toxic PvP bullied them. What? No, I wasn't. Wait, hold on. I wasn't bullied.
Don't read the chat.
I wasn't bullied in PvP, Paul. Let's not get that. Let's get that out of the way. But I think you can do it. Like I know you can do it, right? Like I know that this dev team can. If Bardom Metal is what we can expect from future dungeons, then I know they have the ability to create great content and new content that's interesting. And especially when they start making statements like new content in this game that has never been seen in an MMO before. Show me. Don't tell me, show me that my $14.99 is going towards badass content, because that's what I want to see. If anything, show me that it's going to something that's going to engage my FC, that's going to engage the players and have this log back in. Because it's hard to see like 2 months. What are we at now? Almost 3 months into an expansion, and we know October is probably going to be around the time where you're going to do your 4.1, and you know it's hard. It hurts, and it's hard to see people like checking out already and being like, all right, well, see ya. See, it's a 4.1. Because I think that you guys are better than that. I know you're better than that. And I think there's a lot of stuff that you guys could be doing that other MMOs aren't and are doing already. Doesn't mean we love you any less. You know, Shin and I we do this show every week. So clearly, you know, we love something about this game that we show up and do this every week. And episode 50, don't forget, is next week. We'll let you guys know on the Twitters, and we'll tweet it out and the Facebooks, and we'll put it everywhere so you guys know to come join us. If you're new and you're listening live here, give us a follow so you know when we go live. I stream during the week, and also the show goes live. Episode 50 is going to be a call-in episode. We'll have the Discord information. We'll have a little bullpen in there for you guys to hang out. We'll pull in people one at a time. You could talk about us. You could talk about the show. You could talk about Final Fantasy 14. You could talk about your experience. If you met us at FanFest, you want to talk whatever you want to talk about. I look at it like this. You've heard us for 49 episodes. We want to hear your story. I think it's going to be far more interesting than hearing from us for a 50th episode. We're far more interested in you guys, I think, at this point. We want to know who's out there and listening. So I have a feeling I might know who called. Also, don't forget, there's going to be a game. There's going to be prizes. We're going to give shit away. Like, don't worry. We're going to hook it up. It's our 50th anniversary, but we're going to make sure that you're all loved and taken care of. So, as always, you can find us on the here weekly, usually 8 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, but since we had internet issues this past week, we did a show tonight. But Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. You can find us on maelstromradio.com. You can email us at show@maelstromradio.com, just like Thales did. You can send us an email. So if you want to send us an email, if you can't be here live and call in, and you do want to send us an email for our 50th show, send it at show@maelstromradio.com. Listen, if you want to record something and send it an MP3 to us, do it. I have the ability to load that up and play that. So don't think I can't do that. If you want to send us in something like that, you're absolutely welcome to. I will load it up and play it. You want to send us in a theme song? Go ahead. I'll play it on the show. Whatever you want to do.
No guarantees that he won't edit it beforehand.
I will not edit. Listen, if I got to clean your audio, I will, but I won't edit anything out of it. And then you can find us on twitter.com / or just at Maelstrom Radio. And then you can find us on Facebook at Facebook.com / Maelstrom Radio. And then here at Twitch at twitch.tv / Maelstrom Radio. Paul said he's already going to call in. Was this Monday shit? I need to go to work. Gonna go fast. No, well, maybe. I got nothing else really. I don't normally, yet again, I'm not going to talk politics on the show. I never will. And I said if I use my show for anything, it's a platform for things. But I will say this. Just be kind to your fellow human. Just be a kind person. There's a lot of hate in this world, and we don't need more of it. I'd rather this show be a foreground and based on love and love of this game and the community and the other people. Shin and I have fun doing this. We promote having fun within our audience. We allow you guys to have a voice. We don't restrict you. Shin and I make a lot of jokes. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you were in Charlottesville, you were affected by it, if you knew somebody that got hurt while you're out there and you use this as your escape from that, our thoughts are with you, but don't take that animosity and put it out in the world. Take that in, deal with it, but lead with your heart, lead with love. It's too much shit out there. It sucks. I hate looking at the news. So, like my grandfather, I don't want to get too personal, but my grandfather was told the other day that he should go back home. And my grandfather came to this country from Cuba to give us, his family, a better life. And he didn't get mad at the guy. He didn't do anything. He just ignored him. And I asked him why. And he said, because hate takes up too much time and life is short. And life should be just love and having a good time. So Maelstrom Radio is about love and having a good time. And we appreciate all of you out there. Shin, do you have anything else for this?
I've got nothing else.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and do one of these and do one of those. Get us out of here. All right. Oh, wait, they probably can. Well, they can kind of hear the music. I'm going to go do one of these. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I want to give a big shout out to Mello, who was on our show a couple episodes ago. That was episode 48. He just released Midnight Broadcast Volume 2. You can go check that out on 2mellow.net. The album, I will be streaming all of his music this week, including that album. The album is fantastic. If you like lo-fi chill hip-hop and just music beats without rap on it, go check that album out. Thank you all again for supporting us, and I can't wait to see you at episode 50. Oh, and what was that thing that we always say here? Till sea swallows all, keep listening? That sounds about right. Keep doing that.
Maelstrom Radio is a production of MaelstromRadio.com, Blackfire Media Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Opening theme provided by Benjamin Anthony James. You can find more of their music over at soundcloud.com /Ben773. Our outro is provided by Sodo. You can find more of their music over at soundcloud.com/Soto. Views and opinions expressed on this episode are those of Maelstrom Radio and their hosts, and do not reflect the views and opinions of Square Enix. And until C swallows all, keep listening.